Okay, so today's class, globalization testing and localization testing. Okay, so first of all, we are mentioned globalization testing. I'm going to explain. Okay, so guys, what is meant by globalization?
Like whole, sir.
So global means nothing but a
Whole, like universe, whole universe.
hmm. Okay, see, globalization testing is nothing but a, so whatever the application we are testing, so that application testing, we can simply call it as globalization testing, but we cannot say we are going to perform globalization testing. But in every application you guys have tested that application testing, we can simply call it as globalization testing. But comes under localization testing, we cannot mention in localization testing, we mention so we are going to perform localization. But globalization testing, we cannot say we are doing globalization testing. Okay. See, in globalization testing, throughout the globe, which language is required? If you guys need to travel
English.
to the world, which language is required?
English, sir.
English. English language is required throughout the English language is required. See, here in globalization testing, or we can call it as localization testing, there are some of the parts we need to test. Okay, so those I'm going to explain. See, in globalization testing, mainly we need to focus on language testing. Language is nothing but the application is throughout the application showing in English language or not. Okay, we need to verify throughout the application is showing in English language or not. Okay, and also we need to verify the region, which region the application, like India or USA or UK, the region also we need to verify. Okay, and also the dates formats also. Okay, the date formats, why we need to check the date format means nothing but in India, we are following other dates. So like we are going to follow like DD, MM, YY. But other countries, they are going to follow, so MM, DD, YY, YY. Okay, in some of the countries, they are following like DD, YY, MM, like this. So country to country, the date formats are changing. Okay, so that is the reason whenever we are going to perform any application testing, we need to focus on this language testing, and also we need to focus on region, and we need to focus on the date format, and also we need to focus on the currency format also. Currency format, why we need to focus on currency format means nothing but every country there is a different currency format. Okay, so these things we are going to focus on globalization testing. So for globalization testing, we have another name, we can call it as internationalization testing also. Okay, internationalization testing also we can call it as for globalization testing. Okay, you guys are understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm giving the notes. Globalization testing is to ensure that the application can function in any culture or local, like language territory, and code page. Okay, so it is also called as internationalization testing. Okay. So to perform internationalization testing, the testers have to focus on language, region, and currency and dates. Okay, in internationalization or globalization testing, we guys need to focus on language, region, currency, and date formats. Now, okay, these things we guys need to focus on this application on the globalization testing. You guys are understand? Guys, please respond. You guys are understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Now comes under localization testing. Guys, this is very, very important. See, globalization testing, every time we are doing globalization testing application only. Okay. See, but comes under localization testing, there are different types of things are there. Okay. See, what is meant by localization? What we can call it as local? Localization means what we can call it as is.
Like specific to country or state, really, I mean, state, etc.
Specific to country, or we can call it as specific state.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we can see throughout India, what is the language we are using? What is the national language in India? Hindi.
Hindi.
Okay. So, but comes under states in Hyderabad. What is the language we are using?
Telugu.
Telugu. So Telugu is our language. Okay. Now, what is happening? If I'm giving an example, so see, the application is developed in English language. The application is developed in English language. That particular, so I'm giving example, that is a US country. So in US country, they are using English main. Okay, the application is showing in English the throughout the US. Okay, but comes under in the US, there are different types of counties are there. So states, they can call it as counties. Okay, in different counties, they have different types of languages. They have different types of languages. So what they are doing, see, I have worked on one project. So in that project, I was worked on product. Product is nothing but a and globalization testing. I'm done that globalization testing for my project. So for that project, so some of the peoples, they are working on localization testing. Guys, whenever we guys are performing localization testing, they get particularly mention we are doing localization testing. Okay, so for that localization testing, what will happen? So in localization testing, what is their language? Okay, and the local language, what is the language they are using? So for suppose in US, there are different types of counties and different types of languages. So they are using Spanish, they are using French, they are using Bengali, they are using Chinese language, okay, and so on. They are using 10 languages. Okay, so throughout the US, the application showing in English, but comes under that particular area. So they are asking the application should display in that particular language. Okay, now you guys need to perform the localization testing. Okay, the localization testing, how we can perform? So you guys doesn't know. So the Chinese language, if you guys need to perform application testing on Chinese language. Okay, you doesn't know Chinese language. How you guys are going to perform? Okay, so how we are getting the requirement means nothing but a, so you guys can see. This is my English language. Okay, and this is Chinese language. Okay, what they mention, they are going to provide two columns. They are going to give, there are two columns. So in the two columns, they are going to mention first name and they are going to mention last name. Okay, so here they are providing the wording, the Chinese language. What is the first name? So they are going to provide like this. Okay, now you guys can see they are going to mention this is the one. They are providing the terminology like this. Okay, now you guys are doing testing, the localization testing. You need to check if there is a first name, it is showing Chinese like this. You guys need to go through that application. In the application, the terminology you guys need to verify, and this one and the application first name both are matching up. Okay, so this is the way we are going to perform the localization testing. The localization testing is very, very tough, guys. Why? Because we don't know some of the languages, but still, whatever the language they have mentioned, this one and this one both are matching or not. In the applications one and this the Excel one, both are matching or not. We guys need to verify. Okay, sir, how we can see? So this word and this word both are matching. So they have given the translation also. You guys can see here there is a translation something. Okay, so like this they have provided a translation. So you guys need to verify if there is a first name. You guys can check first name, where is the first name. Okay, after that you guys need to move to Chinese language and you guys can come to check the first name and the application first name both are matching. Okay, this is the way we are going to perform the localization testing. Exact word should be matched with the application. Whatever the Excel format they have provided, so that format and the application format should be matched. The wording format. Okay, and also here also we are going to check the currency format. Okay, what is the currency they are going to use? Okay, and what is the we can call it as date format they are going to use. The date format we need to check. Okay, and what is the pin code? Okay, so in that pin code also we need to follow. Okay, so pin code, why we mentioned pin code means nothing but in India we have different types of pin codes. State to state the pin codes are changing. Okay, those pin codes we need to verify, and there are some image formats also there. Images means nothing but so if English format, English is nothing but it is showing total English. Okay, it is showing in total English. Okay, if I'm converting that language into some other language, the images should be shown in that particular language only. But if you guys can see, if I'm going to change this language into some other language, okay, see some of the terminologies, it is showing. So you guys need to check. Say here everything should be displaying English, but here you can see, see this language, but here it is showing English. So that means this is a defect. Okay, so the application should display whatever the language we have selected. Okay, see this one we can call it as translation testing, guys. So in the Amazon application, what we are doing, this is a translation testing. So translation is different, but so the localization testing is different. So translation, what we are doing means just we are translating to this particular language. The total application is showing in this particular Urdu language or not. Okay, but we don't know what is the meaning of this one. But comes under localization testing, we know the meaning of this one. Okay, that is the difference. We have three types. One is globalization testing, and one is localization testing, and one is translation testing. Translation means you can directly translate the application into some other language. Okay, the application is throughout the application, it is showing that particular language or not. You guys need to just verify. So application cannot be shown in English. So in this language only, the total application should display. Okay, if you guys are performing localization testing, so what is this meaning? Okay, in this meaning and this meaning, both are matching or not, you guys are going to perform in localization testing. Okay, this much difference is there, guys, between globalization testing, localization testing, and translation testing. Okay, you guys are understand? See, localization testing, see, most of the times we are not getting localization testing, but some of the application, they are going to ask the localization testing and translation also. So most of the times we are not getting. Some of the areas only we are going to test the translation testing also. Okay, you guys are clear? Is there any confusion?
No, sir.
Amit, are you clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay, so you guys can remember, see, localization testing is some tough part, guys. Why? Because we don't know the language, what is the language they are using. If they need Chinese language, we cannot able to read the Chinese language, but still you guys need to check the word to word. Okay, what is the word? So in the Excel, the word is matching with the application or not. So these things you need to verify. So this is some tough part, but still we need to perform. Okay, I'm getting some notes. Localization testing is the software testing process for checking the localized version of a product for that particular culture or localized settings, the areas affected by localization testing are UI and content. Okay, here the functionality cannot be changed, guys. Only the change is UI and the content is changed. UI is nothing but you guys are able to see this is the UI. Okay, these are UI. Okay, and the content, this is there is a content is there. The content that should be, we are going to check in this localization test. Okay, but functionality is same. So how the functionality is working in globalization testing? So that's the way localization testing functionality also working same. Okay, and types of localization testing. So what we are going to do in localization testing means, first of all, we are going to check currency format testing. And the second one is date format testing. And the third one is pin code format testing. And the fourth one is image format testing. And the fifth one is language. Okay, so these things we need to focus on in the localization testing. Okay, I'm giving the differences between globalization testing and localization testing. Okay, so key differences between localization and globalization. Okay. Globalization testing focuses on the application worldwide capabilities, whereas localization focuses on a subset of users in a given culture or local. In globalized product, the code is separated from the messages or information, while it is not necessary for the localized products. Guys, here I'm giving, see, I have the good experience in both globalization and localization testing. See, for globalization testing, there are different developers are there and different testers are there. Okay. For localization testing, there is a localization development team is there and localization testing team is there. Why? Because in the globalization testing, we are mainly focusing on the English language. But comes under in the localization testing, they are focusing on their particular language. Okay. If they need Chinese language, they are focusing on Chinese language. If they need French language, they are mainly focusing on Chinese language developer. They are doing the Chinese language development. Okay. This is the way they are going to work in the both globalization testing and localization testing. Okay, see in my project, what is the project I have done? So in that project, I think I was worked on nearly 11 months in that particular project on the globalization testing. But my localization testing peoples, there are, I think, 9 teams are there. So 9 teams are working nearly 2 years on that particular project. Why? Because they are changing the product. So that they are changing it to the localization. Application is changing it to the localization. So once they have changed, they are modifying some of the things. Okay. So till support, with that support, they are working on 2 years on that particular project. Okay. So localization testing, it will take a lot of time, guys. Because of each and everything, we need to check. Okay. And globalization ensures that without breaking functionality, code can handle all international support, whereas localization ensures verification of linguistic accuracy and resources attributes. Guys, linguistic, you all are know linguistic. What is meant by linguistic?
Multi-language.
Yes, multi-language. We can call it as linguistic. Okay. Globalization detects potential problems in application whereas localization provides validation of all application resources. Okay, so this is the key differences between globalization and localization test. Okay, so you guys are clear with this one? Guys, clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so tomorrow's class, I'm going to explain STLC. STLC is nothing but a software testing life cycle. Okay, so STLC means nothing but it represents testing part. Okay, there is a difference between SDLC and STLC. SDLC is nothing but it represents entire project, but comes under STLC. It represents only testing part. Okay, in STLC there are different types of phases are there. Just I am going to explain the phases. Tomorrow I am going to provide the uh, explanation on those phases. Requirement analysis. The second one, test plan. Okay, test case design, test case review, and requirement traceability matrix. We can simply call it as RTM. And simply call it as RTM. And test the environment readiness. Or we can call it as test bed. Test cases execution. Okay. And defect life cycle. And the test summary. The last one is test sign off. Okay, so these are the 10 phases are there in the STLC. So tomorrow I'm going to start with the STLC. Okay, so any questions as of now? Guys,
No,
with
sir.
this globalization and localization testing, we have completed our basics. Okay, basic testing is completed. Now I am going to start STLC. It will take minimum 1 week time, 1 week to 10 days time for STLC. And after that, we have SDLC and SDLC models. Okay. So as of now, we have completed basics. So tomorrow I am going to take mock interview for both of you. I think you guys can tell me what time you guys are ready. So based on that your time, I'm going to schedule tomorrow's class. But first, I need to focus on the mock interview.